Wakes weeks in Bolton were allus in June, when factories and shops all shut down, with wind blowing cold and rain lashing hard on stray dogs as were allus around. But this year were different for Sam and his wife, and for kids and all they were fain, 'cause they'd saved up their money since last Christmas gone and flown off for a fortnight in Spain. Costa Brava were grand at this time of the year, and sun shone from morning till neat. They just lied on t' beach in the cozzies and let th' ocean wash sand o'er their feet. Now Sam, he were chapel and didn't take a drink, but they got him with some folks from Chorley, who'd insisted that Sam shared a bottle of wine, and Sam, he were tempted sorely. So off to Bodegar strolled Sam in the sun, a red hanky tied round his head, a red towel tied loose round his shoulders, and his knee-length shorts, aye, they were red. Sam pushed open the door at Bodegar, and he looked all around and about, and there were his new friends from Chorley, supping wine from a jug wi' a spout. Bar were crammed fur full of Spaniards. There weren't a spare inch on the floor, 'cause today were the day of the bullfight at the local corrida next door. His chum shouted, "Sam, come and join us." And they shouted to the waiter, "More wine!" And it weren't very long before Sam were firm friends wi' Bacchus, the god of the vine. Suddenly, bar started to empty. All that wine had robbed Sam of his sense, 'cause he followed crowd into corrida. He thought they were going to gents. Sunlight hit Sam right between thighs, and he felt his knees start to give way. Then head over heels he tumbled down steps, and the Spaniards all shouted, "Ole!" He got to his feet, then he stumbled again, and crowd really thought it were grand. Sam felt his legs fail as he fell over t' rail, and he landed in Bullring, in sand. Now Bull's name were Oswald, and scared though he was at the fate surely is before night. He walked straight up to Sam, and he looked him in the eye, but Sam were in no mood for a fight. He shoved both of his hands in his pockets, and he smiled, and he felt pleased as punch when he pulled out a pair of black puddings, as his wife had packed up for his lunch. Oswald stood snorting and grunting and digging his hoofs in sand. So Sam offered him one at black puddings. He held it right out in his hand. Oswald smelled it, and then licked it, and then swallowed it whole. He were fain of some food, I dare say, 'cause he'd had a bit of an headache, and he hadn't felt like eating all day. Oswald soon realised as Sam meant him no harm, and their thoughts were both on the same track. So he lowered his head, and with one mighty leap, Sam landed astride Oswald's back. The bull walked round ring at a slow, steady pace, in the scorching hot heat of the day. Sam took off his towel and wafted his face, and the Spaniards all shouted, "Ole!" Crowd all jumped up, and they clapped and they cheered, and then all of them started to shout, and Sam scratched his head in bewilderment like. He couldn't see what all fuss were about. Well, they gave Bull as a present to Matador Sam for best sport they'd all had in years. But purists among 'em, well, they weren't best pleased, 'cause matadors usually only get theers. And now, down in Bolton, just off Chorley Road, when you're down there you'll probably spy Oswald and Sam sat together in park, sharing black pudding and cow heel pie.